Hi there, Amy with Firefly Retail Consulting, and today I want to bring you my fourth in a 5-video series uh, about things that you can use to make your momentum going into 2018 really as positive as we possibly can. That's the goal. We want to move into the new year with as much positive forward momentum as we possibly can. All right, so with that in mind, I want to talk to you today about what I sort of jokingly call the secret weapon of small retail. And it's a little tongue-in-cheek because it's not really a secret. This is something that the big boys use, and it's super, super critical to being successful in retail. And what that is, that secret weapon, is open to buy planning. If you know me, you know that I love open to buy planning. It's really my specialty. It's what I do. Is merchandise planning. So with that in mind, I wanted to give you 4 really key elements to a solid open to buy plan today so that you know what direction you need to go in if you haven't been using this type of planning. But first I wanted to share with you one statistic that I think is super telling and why open to buy planning is so very important for small retailers to implement in their businesses. And that is that 80% of small retailers, small independent retailers, are over inventoried. And in my experience, I would say probably 40 to 50% of those retailers are significantly over inventoried. Some retailers that I've seen that have come to me and haven't been using a plan, there are several $100,000 in retail dollars over inventoried. That's a lot of money sitting on a sales floor not doing anything for you, okay? And this is the number one reason why most retailers struggle with cash flow and debt too, is not having this open to buy plan. All right, so with that in mind, I want to give you those 4 elements of a really strong open to buy plan. The first element is that your plan is based on sales trending. So it's based on where your sales are trending, where you're projected to go, not just looking back. A lot of times retailers, when they're trying to plan their merchandise, they only look back at what they did maybe last year, instead of really paying attention to where you're headed, what the short term has looked like, as well as the long term look. Okay, so we want to look at where your sales are trending. The second part of a strong open to buy plan is breaking your merchandise down into classes of merchandise. You can think of them too as maybe your departments. So it's breaking your merchandise down into types, because with a merchandise plan, we want to do a bottom up plan, not top down. We don't want to look at this on a store-wide level and try and figure out what pieces we should be purchasing. Down below, we really want to look at the smaller groupings and let where those smaller groupings are trending, based on that trending again, where they're moving, and then add them all together for that bottom up sort of look. Okay? The third thing that we want to do with a strong open to buy plan is to make sure that when we're tracking our inventory, that we have our inventory and our purchases, we need to make sure that we're tracking them in retail dollars. Most of the time as retailers, we think in cost, because that's what matters to us when stuff's coming in and we have to pay the bill, right? We look at it at how much it cost us, but we sell things in retail dollars. So in order to get that apples to apples view, we really need to make sure that we're looking at our merchandise and how much we're bringing in on a retail dollar level, not just how much is it costing us to bring in, okay? And then the fourth element of a really strong open to buy plan is that it's computer generated. You can do open to buy planning by hand, but it is very time consuming and it's really prone to error. You can think of open to buy planning really as one great big math problem. And if you, if you make a mistake early on in your math, that throws the whole thing off. So really, use a computer program to do this for you. There's lots of good ones out there. And let that computer software do the heavy lifting for you. Okay, that's what computers are for, to make our lives easier. So in this instance, it's really a great idea to just let that computer do the work. Okay, so to review, we have really 4 elements of a really strong open to buy plan. 1, we're looking at sales trending, not just where you've been, but also where you're headed. Okay. We want to look too at your merchandise broken down into classifications. We want to do a bottom up versus a top down plan. All right. And then we want to make sure that we're tracking our merchandise in retail dollars as it's coming in. And then as we're looking at the inventory level in our store as a whole, we want to make sure we're looking at it in retail dollars. And then the 4th and final element of a great open to buy plan is that it's really computer generated. Let that computer do the work for you. You'll be much happier, lot more free time. Okay, so please, as always, leave your biggest takeaway down here in the comments. Any questions that you have, I'm happy to answer. Love to hear from you. And then please join me tomorrow for our last video, last day already, where I'm going to talk about the importance of asking for help. Okay? So until then, remember that you control your retail destiny. You have the power to make this work. You really do. Okay? I believe in you. I have confidence in you. All right? I'll talk to you tomorrow.